Yep, I'm back.
Say what again? Say what again? Say what again? Say what again?
What's going on, Floor Team? It is I, Floor Talks. After a long 8-month hiatus, and yes, I know it's been a while. I'm not going to get into much of it here because you guys are not here to listen to me talk about all the bullshit that's been going on in my life. You're here for a review, but if you want to know a little bit of what's going on, I did leave a short apology and a little bit of an explanation in my community tab, so go check that out.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you something.
We don't care.
Jerry.
Anyway, I'm here to talk about something that's pretty near and dear to my heart, and I say it that way because I actually got to sit down, talk with the writer, attend his panel at the Grand Rapids Comic-Con, and of course I'm talking about Will Jordan, or as a lot of people here on YouTube know him, the Critical Drinker. He, alongside Nerdrotic, had an excellent panel where they talked about their YouTube journey. They went through some of the things they reviewed, but most importantly to me, they gave some very inspirational words that I definitely use as a platform to get over my issues. And I'm getting back to what I love. That's watching everything entertainment and talking about it with you all. And that leads me to Rogue Elements, which is a 40-minute long film. I'm going to call it a film. I know it's like a proof of concept TV series, but I'm going to call it a film just for the sake of this video, that he released on Monday. And he actually talked about it while he was there at the Grand Rapids Con, saying it was going to come out on Monday. And I said, you know what better way to get back into YouTube than to review the work of someone that inspired me to do so, right? So we're going to get critical on the Critical Drinker. I'll see my... So let's do a bit of a plot summary here before I jump into my comments. Rogue Elements is part of the Drinker's Ron Drake continuity. And I'll say outright that I've only just begun reading the series. I even got his most recent book while I was there at the con, Dark Harvest. He signed it. It was pretty cool. But there's definitely some Tom Clancy vibes that are coming through in what I've read so far. So that's kind of it. Like we're seeing Rogue Elements mostly through the eyes of Ryan Drake, but his team members, Kira and Jonas, are there, and they set out on this mission to get vengeance against this like Russian special operations group, following the death of one of Drake's mentors. That's it. That's all I'm giving away of this plot. Regardless of what I have to say, go and watch it. Watch it anyways.
Gentlemen, you have my curiosity, but now you have my attention.
All right, let's start off with the positives. And the thing I'm going to bring up first is going to be the production. So while we were there at the con, and of course he's made a couple of videos on it, talked with his community, it is no question that this film, I'm just going to keep calling it a film for this review, was done on a pretty tight budget. I've heard about $300,000, which we cover horror mostly on this channel, and $300,000 can go pretty damn far. I mean, just take a look at Terrifier or whatever Blumhouse manages to slap up against the wall that particular month. But only having $300,000 at your disposal to make an action movie, that's a pretty lofty task.
True, and yeah, that's pretty true.
But let me tell you, you don't feel or see it at all. Director Travis Grant is very competent behind a camera. There's excellent framing and lighting. You know, it takes most directors well into their careers to use that kind of stuff correctly. The acting is good enough for a small indie production, but I was actually shocked to see a pretty familiar face. Seriously, Mike Dopud? There's just no way I don't murder this name, so I'm just gonna say Mikey D. We're going with Mikey D. As soon as I saw this guy on screen, I was like, hold the fuck up here. Like, I know his face from somewhere. So naturally, I went to Google, and here he is. Yeah, he plays the lead agent in the private security team in my favorite Christmas film of all time, Violent Night. And if you haven't seen that, well, here's my review on it. And yeah, go watch it. Instant Christmas classic. Anyway, I thought that was pretty cool. Where was I? Yep, I was talking about the production. So direction was great, actors were good, and if you've read any of Jordan's books, you'll know that the writing is extremely well crafted. So the dialogue sounds human, It doesn't sound cardboard, plastic, fake, and the sequencing of events actually makes sense. There's a few issues I'm going to talk about here in the negative section, but the thing that a lot of indie films suffer from is you've got, either decent actors and crap writing, or you've got crap actors and decent writing. This film doesn't suffer from either one of those. You've got good actors and you've got good writing, and it all comes together pretty fucking well. That's all I can really say. I know just to dumb it down like that, but when you're watching this thing, it doesn't feel like a small indie production. It looks very professional, looks very well made, and I was actually pretty shocked by it. As many indie films as I watch, you can instantly tell when you're watching a very low budget, production. This did not feel that way at all.
Tony Stark was able to build this in a cave with a bunch of scraps.
Now, I was going to put the following point into the positives, but after getting further along in the film, it dropped quite a bit for me. But not enough to be a negative because, again, budget restrictions, I get it. There's a bit of forgiveness, but I'm going to include it because, fuck it, why not? I can. And that's conveniences. Early on in the film, I was complimenting how well the production was paying attention to how people with actual combat training move and talk, and seeing as I'm a veteran myself, I can validate a lot of these things, but I found myself getting a bit aggravated as we went along.
What do you mean by that?
They're killing people in front of these big ass security lights. They're killing a guy in front of a door. There's a room inside of this compound where there is obviously a shit ton of security cameras, and oddly enough, none of them are pointed outside so they can see Drake coming. They don't realize he's coming until he's inside the fucking building. That don't make a lot of sense. And there's even one scene and where Drake is going through this warehouse. It's filled with pallets, and you can see him very clearly look in a certain direction. He's pointing his weapon in that direction. He's looking in that direction as if to clear that there's nobody in that direction. But when the camera pans around, you can clearly see that there's an entire group of enemies right in front of him. And it's not like they just popped out. Like, there's only one direction they could be coming, and there was not enough time for them to fucking walk/run to be able to get up that close to him. So he clearly missed that. And I know this may seem like an annoying point to bring up. It may just be kind of petty, but again, I'm a veteran myself, and I've had a career that's paralleled what these guys have gone through. And like I said, I got disappointed because at the very beginning of the film, they paid so close attention. I mean, they're walking, they're talking, they're using the signals just like we would in the military service, but then it just kind of just goes downhill, and we start getting kind of silly by the end of it.
Well, let's be nice. Yeah. Let's be nice. We don't have to go there. I mean, you're not wrong, but you didn't have to say it. I mean, good Lord.
As for the negative, I've got only one, and that's Ryan Drake himself. Who the fuck is he?
Wait a minute. Who are you?
Action films are popular because they're exactly that. They're action films filled with action. But in a genre that pretty much everything that can be done has been done. I mean, for God's sakes, they did a fucking rocket car thing in Fast and Furious. You've got to do something to set yourself apart from the crowd. You've got James Bond, who has all these really cool gadgets, all these really cool guns, and to top it off, he can bang them off if he wants to. Or if you've got Jason Bourne, who has this really unique storyline of losing his memory and trying to regain it back, and along the way, he just chills in people's houses and then calls them and tells them they're there. That was always kind of fucking creepy. And then you've got like a John Wick, just to break it down on such a simple level. That first John Wick film that spawned 3 other films, the first one, just because a dude killed his dog, took his car. That's it.
But now, yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
Why does Ryan Drake do what he does? We don't ever get to learn anything about him. He's essentially a generic agent chasing a generic Russian with a generic team. And I understand this is a proof of concept, right? But I think that's what makes the idea of Drake so important. You need a character the audience can relate to in a way. May it be, I don't know, having a similar distaste of killing pets, the aggravation that comes with forget shit you shouldn't, or even aspiring to be as suave as Pierce Brosnan in a tuxedo. Seriously, guys, he's the best Bond. I'm not going to entertain anyone on that particular debate.
He's out of line, but he's right.
I'm not saying that Drake is boring as a character, because he's not. I'm actually interested in seeing, who and what he is. He's got this bit of a pseudo love relationship thing going on. That's kind of what I got. He's got strong connections with members of his team, and obviously they have a past. And there's even a few times where he recalls some training sessions that he has with mentors. But the problem that I had with this is that they're shown in short snippets, like 10, 15 seconds, and then we don't hear shit else about it. And when you've got a proof of concept like this, the concept is Drake. Prove him to me. In this particular film, they didn't do it.
I said, hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right.
I understand that Drake's backstory is laid out fully for us in the books, okay? I'm about halfway through the first one, right? But you can't go into this under the assumption that people know who your character is. I know somebody's gonna bring that up. So yeah, let me just point that out. I'm reading the books, but for a proof of concept, you can't walk in and have, an audience or any kind of studio execs just assume that they've read your books and they know who and what this character is, because odds are they're probably not. So, we happy?
We happy.
Rogue Elements, even if it doesn't get beyond this proof of concept, like it just kind of stops here, maybe there's something else, it should. This should get developed into a TV series, because it is a testament that you don't need $300-400 million in order to make something happen. With $300,000, they managed to get a great director. They obviously had competent writers. They had actors that knew what they were doing, and they were able to tell an intriguing story. Granted, I had my issue with it, right? Nothing is going to be perfect, and I'm sure that in further installments, this will be addressed, right? They already had to address so much stuff as it is. There was bound to be something that was going to be overlooked. So, yeah, go check this thing out. Matter of fact, if I can remember how to fucking do it, I'll put the link to it up here in the video somewhere. It's been a while. Okay, don't judge me. Anyway, I appreciate you guys for checking out my video, and I'll talk to y'all later.